Hi, today I'll be reviewing my RX jump ropes. I have a total of 3, as you can see in the video, and I bought my first RX jump rope back in 2009 when I was stationed in San Diego, which in German means a whale's vagina. I first noticed this jump rope at this gym I used to train at called CrossFit East Village. Don't judge me, I was young. They had an open gym and free yoga classes, which was pretty sweet, but I digress. Back to these amazing jump ropes. As you can see, I altered my jump ropes for long-lasting durability. That's what she said. Meow. I want to take this time to talk about the handles and the cable weight. The original cable weight, not the weight it has on now. So the one on the bottom, the handle with the red lettering, and the one on top with the handle with the white lettering, the cables should be the same weight, whatever they had 7 or 6 years ago. The original RX jump rope I did buy, I gave that one away a while ago to a family member, and that one I would have had for at least 10 years, but I did the same thing with wrapping it up. But it's whatever the max weight they had in ounces was when I did buy them. And the one in the middle is the Kronos, and I forget how much that one weighs. And for the handle, the Kronos, the handle actually slipped off the original RX lettering grip it had. So what I did was I wrapped it with Gorilla duct tape, but it's the non-skid duct tape, so it gives you a nice good grip on there. I'm pretty sure I could have done that a lot prettier, but I'm a man, who gives a shit. So I'm pretty sure there's other people out there that can make it a lot prettier. And I also did the same thing for the bottom one. As you can see, there's a little bit of Gorilla tape on there, the non-skid type. And for the handle on the bottom with the red lettering, I did wrap it up all the way up to the O-ring. It felt that it had too much play in it when I would jump, because it does make the rope a bit heavier. And when I did that, when I wrapped it over, it actually gave it less play and worked out more on my wrist and my shoulders, which was a good thing in my opinion. So that's something you can also think about. If you're not competing, in an event that has to deal with like double unders, I would say this is pretty ideal because you get a nice warm up with your shoulders and your wrists if the rope's a bit heavier and you have more control. And that's what I liked about wrapping it up all the way up to the O-ring. On top of that, Ross Training, and this isn't a direct quote, but it's in one of his DVDs that I bought, which is, I recommend him. Go ahead and buy one of his merchandise, the things that he sells, because they're worth the money. So from RossTraining.com will tell you lighter jump ropes aren't always ideal. Another thing from NSCA, this is the National Strength and Conditioning Association, it's called bracketing. So bracketing technique is when you either go heavier or lighter with a weight, whether it's with an exercise. So this one, obviously being jumping rope, you can go a bit heavier. That way, if you're ever in a competition and you get a lighter jump rope, you can actually do more with a lighter jump rope. Trust me, like the difference is fucking amazing when I grab a lighter jump rope and it's like, oh, I can jump rope forever. But with that being said, there's also risks with bracketing, with the bracketing technique, because you also have to make sure that you have enough time training. If you make the rope heavier, that way you get accustomed to it. But at the same time, you also don't want to lose the technique you have for a lighter rope. I've noticed that there's a bit of a difference when you switch from a heavier rope to a lighter rope. You might have to get used to the lighter rope a little bit. So just keep in mind that if you do use a heavier rope, every now and then bust out the lighter rope. That way you can get a nice feel for it, because it does feel different after a while if you're always using one type of rope all the time. So just keep that in mind. And for those of you anal beads out there, the bracketing technique, in which the athlete performs a sport movement with less than normal and greater than normal resistance, is another form of accelerating training. And I'm just applying this to jump rope training, or whatever the hell you want to call it. But yeah. Last but not least, about the handles, if you notice, the one on the top has a different O-ring, the one with tubing on it, And the reason that is because when I was taking it off, I screwed it up. I accidentally messed up the O-ring, the original O-rings for it. So what I did was I went to Home Depot, bought some different type of O-rings. I filed it down and then just connected it to the jump rope and the cable, to the handle and the cable. And it's worked out pretty fine so far. I've only had a couple of issues with it, but other than that, I mean, it's worked pretty solid for me. To correct myself, I messed up one of the O-rings. The other one was fine, but I just ended up replacing both of them. Wondering where I left that other one though. The jump rope I'm using right now is the one with the red lettering. So some of you might be wondering why I wrap my ropes up. What I noticed before buying my first RX jump rope is the plastic coating around the wire eventually wears out, exposing the metal wire. It then starts to split and eventually it breaks and you have to buy a new cable for it. To avoid this and make your jump rope a bit heavier, I went to Wally World, also known as Walmart, and bought Ace Black adhesive tape. I'll provide a link in the description below, that way you don't have to Google it. They do have different color types of tape if you don't like black, which is racist of you. You can always choose another color like red, blue, pink, orange, yellow, purple, and green, which is gay. Okay, come on, don't be homophobic. But if you want to turn heads, those are the colors I've seen you can choose from. All jokes set aside, another way to modify your RX jump rope is to buy tubing from Home Depot or Lowe's, whichever you fancy. I'm sure you can find it online as well. Now the same thing happens with the tubing as well, so I recommend wrapping it up with tape as well and replacing the taping when it wears out from the constant friction. That's what she said. Yeah. Anyways, with all that being said, these are real simple fixes to prevent your RX jump rope from splitting. Just keep in mind, some people might not have a good platform to jump on that won't wear and tear their rope. And on top of that, you should be able to jump rope anywhere you want, as long as it's not disrupting anyone or anything. Now here's something I heard from Buddy Lee, an Olympic wrestler, on one of his videos. And he said, wooden surfaces are ideal because it has equal rebound and give. Now me personally, when I didn't have an ideal surface to jump on, I went to Home Depot and bought an 8x4 piece of plywood to jump on. They're pretty cheap. They run about 20 bucks, depending on if you want to get one of the more expensive ones, they'll probably cost you about 50 bucks. Just depends on the thickness of the wood you want. And they usually last for a while. I would put water seal on the ones I bought, and like I said, they're a really good platform to jump on, and they lasted me for a very long time. So this is an option if you don't have a place to jump rope that has a good surface, and avoid cement. And in my opinion, the plywood is probably the best and easiest way to go about getting a good surface to jump on, and it's easy to move as well, in my opinion. Going back to the taping on the rope, so gravity does have a tendency to push it down, but it's not a big deal. And on top of that, the taping where the taping's at on the ends of near the handles, it sometimes does get a little loose and unwraps. A little bit of crazy glue can fix that, just don't overdo it. Right now I'm using the Kronos, so the Kronos actually feels a lot lighter than the other jump rope I was using, which I thought was a little weird because I thought the Kronos was a bit heavier. But then again, I don't have it taped up all the way to the O-ring, so that might also make a difference as well. Now on with the actual review. I'm going to make this short and sweet. I think they're wonderful jump ropes, and I think that if you wrap them up, whether it's in tape or tubing, and then wrap the tubing up with tape, I think they'll last you for a very long time. Just, be wise and make sure you aren't doing anything stupid with them. But other than that, I think they're really great jump ropes. I think they're a good investment, and I think if you take the time, like I said, to wrap them up, they'll last you a very long time and you won't have to worry about replacing the cable. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I also hope that you find some of the advice and knowledge in this video useful and that you apply it. For those of you out there who do jump rope but don't have an RX jump rope, I would recommend getting one. And if you want it to last for a while, do what I did to it. And for those of you who haven't jumped rope before or who are thinking about it, by all means, RX jump ropes aren't a bad investment. Like I said, just make sure you take care of them and apply some of what I said in this video to your jump rope, and it'll last you for a while. You can also apply what I did to my RX jump ropes to other jump ropes. They don't have to be an RX jump rope for you to put taping on them and put tubing on it. But just know that you do get what you pay for sometimes. I did buy a cheap $10 jump rope. I still have it to this day, and it was an easy fix when it did break. But what you can do is you can put tubing or tape on it, and if the handle, depending on what happens, they're usually an easy fix. So that's something you can think about, though, if you don't want to buy an RX jump rope. If you don't want to spring 40 or 50 bucks, you can still apply these things to just like a $10 or $15 jump rope. And just depending on the rope's durability, I mean, it'll last you long as well. And what happened with the $10 one that I bought, the attachment to the handle popped off, but it was a really easy fix. I just popped it right back in and put a little bit of Gorilla Glue, and it pretty much stayed attached. And it stayed attached since then, so it wasn't anything bad. Now here I'm using the rope with the tubing on it. This rope is pretty heavy. I think it might be heavier than the Kronos. And this one has lasted me for a while too. I bought this one probably like 6 or 7 years ago, along with the one with the red lettering. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And have a great day.
Oh! Oh!